Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets on Tuesday nights. Last week, the party, having split up into separate groups, Vendar holding up inside the magnificent mansion to work on his potions, gave a bit of commentary over the bond, but primarily we followed the rest of the group, who had followed Raiken Thess up the stairs to intercept him before he happened upon anything that they didn't want him seeing among Tatsuya's effects. Taking over that search, the party found several magical traps of varying danger, clearly designed to protect Tatsuya's things from being searched, including a disintegrate spell that vaporized a chest of drawers probably full of communications with world leaders that he had done with this magic quill that they were able to recover. Aside from that, they did find an old tchotchke from the Lumos family home that had been made into a container. Inside, they found a note addressed to Raiken from Tatsuya, which was in the vein of, if you're reading this, it means I'm already dead, in which he professed his conviction to his plan, but mostly to the ends of that plan, and once again made a plea that should he have fallen before that came to fruition, that Raiken carry on his work, even if it is by other means. After this was all found out, the wall of the room disintegrated. The party had to take a few minutes to deal with an officer who had become quite inebriated in the time that he was not allowed to return to his room, as Ruby had cordoned off the upstairs out of fear that more of these magic traps might exist. Laramentis was able to sweep the place and find that there was nothing more dangerous than the weapons the soldiers themselves had brought in, and Raiken eventually got the drunk officer to his room and got a name from him. We concluded the session with Laramentis taking himself downstairs to have a conversation with Ruby, in which they exchanged some adventuring stories. Ruby telling Laramentis about a time she got to officiate a wedding between two of her former adventuring colleagues. And so that was quite wholesome and nice. Anyway, so we find ourselves starting with Vendar. Vendar, you spent the day scouring this island for the ingredients you would need to make more of your nitroglycerin and then refine that into the TNT. This meant obtaining animal materials, things that would contain glycerin and glycerides, to render down to glycerin, and nitrogenated soil and animal manure, which you could extract nitrogen from to work into nitroglycerin. You were able to spend several hours in the magnificent mansion with the help of a full staff of unseen servants, and able to pull down any tools, vessels, burners, calcinators, alembics, yada yada, that you would need for all of this without worry about damaging or destroying anything, as the mansion is rendered anew every time the spell is cast. And so you set to work. It is a long, sweaty, foul-smelling process every step of the way, not just the manure. However, at the end of this several hours as people start to pop into this space and, take advantage of its amenities, look for you. You have gathered yourself a nice, let's call them a bushel, of flasks of the nitroglycerin, ready for the next step of the process that you learned from Visandrius. On a roll there, if you want to give me medicine checks using your poisoner kit skill, this will help me determine how much you were able to make.
Alright, well, that's 4 18s and 1 19.
Now, is that the total with everything counted in? Or were those on die?
That was everything counted in.
Okay. It just rolled, like, 10 or lower a lot.
I rolled 4. I rolled 1 1, 1 7, 1 8, 10, and 1 11.
I thought so. Well, the 4 18s, but everything's kind of like, oh, they were all less than 10. Alright. Well, 18 and 19 are nothing to scoff at, even at this level. With a 68% yield on the materials you got, I'm going to say that you are able to assemble 9 vials of nitroglycerin. 9 flasks the size of the one you detonated yourself with.
Can I use my inspiration to reroll one of those?
You may if you wish to.
Okay, see if I can get higher. God damn it. Nope.
9 flasks of nitroglycerin. You still have the step of emulsifying it with the toluene to make the TNT, but that's by comparison to the rendering of fat and the nitrogenating with manure is a simple process. So, the people who wanted to come back to the mansion, which is everybody present, less Laramendus at this time, you reappear in the space of the mansion as per usual out front, but you notice as soon as you appear this sickly sweet and at the same time horrifyingly putrid smell permeating the air around you. Yukikaze and Jebel, you reappear in the mansion, and immediately unseen servants come out the door to collect whatever gear they can lift from you to take inside and let you know that they can make rooms ready for you, but you are immediately hit full in the face with this smell, this acrid, sweet, putrid, manure-y smell that is just overtaking the place.
Oh, good God.
It is not something you wish for after a long day of training and dealing with the logistics of running an army.
Not ideal, but
Well, you
with
smell that,
Foodcraft, I might be
Jebel?
able to cast make a scent, try and cover it up around me.
You smell that, Jebel?
Try not to.
You can see Jebel casting a spell and sparkles glittering the air around him, and this perfumed smell begins to drift in your direction from him, Yuki.
Almost like this. The unseen servants are there, right? Or
yeah, they come up. You know that they're these translucent butler and maid looking figures that generally don't say much, but will use a word here and there to, ask for coats, weapons, anything you want to foist off on them. Now, do you remember?
I'll look at the unseen server and be like, is there any way to purify the air in here? Do you just shake your head yes or no?
I know, I'm thinking about it, actually, because they
No,
could
I
have a
actually,
way.
I just stated that to the unseen server.
I think that for now, until I come up with something better, I think they are just going to kind of grimace at you and shake their heads slightly, looking somewhat apologetic. They seem to be trying to imitate a look of distress.
Okay. I'm gonna go upstairs and see how the upstairs is in the room area.
Okay.
So I'm staying to the unseen server, so I'm gonna be up there. And can you bring some candles and something very fragrant, either fragrant that it can either burn or try to lessen the smell if it's bearable upstairs.
I think the nearest one is going to hold up a hand, and several long lengths of incense are going to be protruding between their fingers.
Alright, I'll snag those and I'll head upstairs to see how it smells.
Okay. Jebel, you're pretty well convinced from your long hours working on these types of things, especially with Vendar, and knowing what he said he was going to do, that this is likely the result of alchemy. What would you like to do?
I am going to go find Vendar and see if I can help him so we get this over and done with a lot faster.
Okay. You beeline through the place just to make sure he's not in this building, and he is not. And then you make your way across the garden and into the library, where you do find that he has gotten the servants to bring him a workbench and several alchemical heating and reducing equipments. He has a few books around him, seemingly Laramendus notes on the subject, just to compare things. And you can just see these boiling pots and steaming things. The whole place is smeared and drizzled with just the most foul-smelling things. Like, outside it was unpleasant. In here you feel like you're walking into the cloud. And you can see that Vendar, in his dragonborn form, is just working away, seemingly oblivious to any of this miasma about him.
I'm going to come up and I'm still casting
Prestidigitation.
Well, it's Druidcraft.
Druidcraft.
I can just make little smells. So I'm assuming I'm making like smells of like flowers or something.
Sure.
I'm just gonna stop next to him and just like. So when you became a dragonborn, did you lose your sense of smell?
Nah, you just kind of get used to it when you're immersed in it for long enough. And I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, well,
Hardly
Yeah,
the
you
first awful smell.
well, you filled up this entire area. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, the entire area.
Yeah, honestly, it almost smells good at this point.
No.
It smells like success.
I associate it with my just rewards. I almost have more TNT.
You can see that he has a small pile of, like a little stack of the round flasks filled with a very clear liquid behind him as he continues to move nasty-looking fluid between beakers.
Do you need a hand with anything here to speed it along?
Sure, I got all the nitroglycerin made. I just need to refine it into TNT. You were there with me when we were doing it, so do more of that.
And that's what I start doing.
Very well. You both can give me a couple rolls for that. Your medicine poisoner's kit.
So that's a 13 and a 17.
Okay. Luckily the flasks go a long way in this. You're getting more than a single stick of TNT. Should stick be the form factor you wish to send it to. It's up to you. Per flask. So from the 9 flasks, you are able to obtain 15 sticks of TNT. Whatever will you do with 17 sticks of TNT?
I'm gonna blow shit up.
You guys work together side by side. It's very much just like the work you did with Vicandrius at the university, only without Vicandrius and in what is effectively a library version of Vlermendus Head. This portion of the experiment, while dangerous because of its volatility, is not nasty. So as you go, and it takes hours, but as you go, that horrible smell... Jebel, you're not sure if it finally... It seems to be starting to dissipate, but you do wonder if you're just going nose blind slowly. Laramentus, I need you to remind me when this was cast. Was it the morning of this current day?
Yes.
So it will last until the morning of tomorrow, so you could sleep here and it would be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wouldn't be able to linger here.
Yeah.
Sleeping, but so I mean, what happens when it disappears is that anyone and anything from outside of it shows up in the nearest unoccupied space to where the door is. So we would all just get like dumped out into the room.
Yeah.
With all the stuff that we brought in. So
it could be messy if not handled properly. So yeah, you can sleep there, but you know that it was pretty soon after waking up because you were woken. I think it was somewhat early.
Yeah, it was earlier than everyone else, and then we made it and then opened up the bag.
Yeah. So you've got that to contend with. Because it was right after you got back from the dream of the Astral Sea. Okay. So yeah. You know, like Bonnie and Clyde, you two work side by side as ever. Honestly, by this time, as you have spent so much time doing this throughout the length of the campaign, you are a well-oiled machine, and the lab space is your playground. In fact, you've got enough experience with the stuff at this point, and it's recent enough that you know exactly how to avoid any accidental detonations, so I'm going to say there's not even a risk of that here. You're able to be as efficient as possible with the material you have. So, that's going to take you more hours. Yukikaze.
Was it bearable in my room?
The place is pretty suffused with that smell, but the incense that they gave you, especially burning more than one stick at once, is strong enough to drive it away, though at times it's a little more heady than you bargained for, so you spend some time at least not suffering from the horrible smell that Vendar created, but a little time maybe kind of drifting on the somewhat powerful incense. And after a while, the smell does seem to lessen, and you can go a little easier on the incense. What would you like to be doing in your room besides, incensing?
I'm gonna be going through Tatsu's paperwork that I collected from his room.
Right. The papers from the Bureau that had been protected by the hypnotic pattern appear to be plans and correspondence and meeting minutes, all having to do directly with this army and its officers. So you actually have sort of an organizational chart of which people are officers of what and who is under them, which is it's going to be extremely useful. It'll give you static bonuses to dealing with the army, having this knowledge. You also have this rudimentary, the minutes from these meetings where they were planning how they were going to move the army and assault the dragons. You do find notes on waiting for the voice of change to unseal Whittemere, the white dragon, and then moving the soldiers out to the vessels that have been prepared here for this purpose. They planned that the crossing from Stormreef Isle to the southern shore, or the northern shore, rather, of the inner sea was going to take roughly 3 days, assuming good weather. And then they would have to march along that Thanandir Aspara border until they reach the mountains, at which point he seemed to be convinced he would have a way to get past the mountains. Now, this is interesting because there are, in the meeting notes, simply verbal assurances from Tatsuya that this isn't going to be a problem. Which seems odd to you. I'm actually trying to go through this. I'm like, the rest of the party knows why this is interesting, but you weren't part of the party when that came up, and you'd not really left the desert prior to your pilgrimage, and you went straight to Arcosia, and the party never returned to Evangard since you joined. So, roll a history check. Roll a history check. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a pretty high DC, but you could get lucky.
Well, I do have bonuses in history because I am knowledgeable. I rolled, I was just thinking if I had enough inspiration, I kind of would like to know. Alright, I guess I'm stuck with this roll.
Okay.
So that's 8 total.
8. Alright, well, you've done a bit of studying of the world, and so you know that Evangard has largely uninvolved itself from politics of the nations south of itself. And from, anytime anyone brings it up, they talk about this impassable mountain range that separates it from the rest of Amaranta. So it would seem to you, as an intelligent leader of soldiers, and now a logistician, that you would want to have an actual plan for getting 3,000 soldiers plus supplies past an impassable mountain range. Something more tangible than, don't worry, I've got it covered.
Alright, so I'm gonna, as I'm reading this too, is write down, I'll write down notes of key parts that I want to bring up to talk to the group with, so I'll write that down.
Okay. Yeah, you can very much just have your journal there, be taking notes on anything that jumps out at you, and this definitely jumps out at you.
I'll keep reading.
Largely it seems to be troop training regimens, which, going over them, you believe that they were probably initiated, but the men you've been training, the men and women you've been training, are not nearly as impressive as these plans seem to hope they would be by this time, especially since it does seem to reconfirm that it was going to be the end of the week that they were planning to shove off. So either he really thought he'd have more time to get these people beaten into shape, or he was planning to send them into a meat grinder.
Well, I feel like the latter.
He did deck them out with some pretty powerful magic that would compensate significantly for their lack of martial ability.
Growing up in around a magic family, I do know that magic doesn't fix everything.
That's true.
It does if you use enough of it.
But it goes on a lot like that. You're able to take notes, and I can fill in whatever's missing based on questions and things like that as it becomes relevant, rather than trying to fly through everything right now. That sound fair?
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't want to inundate literally everyone and try to cover it all at once in the most dry lecture a D&D game has ever contained. So the alchemist bros are alchemizing. This portion of that doesn't smell as bad, so we'll jump very quickly back to Thornbrief. Raiken.
Yes.
So, you've had a good bit of time now, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, to yourself, since everyone left, Larmendus and everyone else, having split off to their goals, their interests. Is there anything particular you'd like to cover as you're sat here in this room surrounded by this legacy of Tatsuya as leader of the army and this box of trinkets, memories of your old life on Arcosia? Roll a wisdom saving throw, actually.
Oh, it wasn't a very good one. 15.
15. The pendant containing Tatsuya's soul, as ever, feels cold against your skin, though this is interesting only because, up until now, it has dulled sensation in that area to that point that you had sort of forgotten about it. Like, you didn't notice it. Suddenly, you begin to notice it again as kind of a sharp and crackling, stabbing pain, skin deep, scale deep, over your chest.
I wonder if somehow it's reacting to all this. Interesting. Very interesting. But now I feel like there's nothing in particular that that I really comes to mind for me of like Raiken will be coming across. He'll be bits and pieces here and there of things that he would recall during their time back on Arcosia growing up, or like in the military together and whatnot, and bringing in memories, but nothing like super special that he would come across.
As you're going through these things and thinking about that there's just a tickle in the back of your mind, and you notice that stabbing pain continues over your chest. Not enough to injure you, but enough to make it hard to think about things. And after a bit, especially as you're looking at each of these trinkets and reliving those memories of these times from your childhood and your youth, you hear, an echoing, hollow rendition of the voice of your brother as you hear, don't touch my shit, Raiken.
Raiken is going to kind of take the pendant, be like, "You can't stop me now, brother. I'll touch everything."
Never ever showed me respect, that did you?
I showed you plenty of respect. But now that you're not here, this is what I have left of you. And of our family.
You could at least get me in a body, Raiken.
That time will come, but not yet. Not until we're done with our plan.
Why? Do you still have the pendant?
Because I'm not going to give you up. I want to bring you back. But
Why?
Because if there is still a way, why would I give up bringing back my brother, my own brother?
Because I betrayed everything you believe Eve in.
You were going about everything the wrong way. That is not betrayal. You just did not see things clearly. Or think about things clearly.
I made a bargain and with Tiamat at.
Well, I think you realize your mistake at this point, and given how big the explosion was, you certainly paid the price for it. But don't get me wrong, I will definitely be beating you senseless when we're able to bring you back for that.
If it hadn't been for the Devil King himself, I would still be a devil. What makes you think I won't betray you again?
Well, if that happens, we'll just have to put you down again.
And again, and...
Well...
How
after...
long will you keep that up?
After this time, who knows if we'll be able to bring you back again. But if that's the case, then so be it.
I thought I could outsmart a god, and I was better equipped than you are. What makes you think you can do better than me?
My friends, we are strong enough together. You had your army, but in truth, you were really by yourself.
I'm sorry, Arya. Run that by me again, and you're going to kill a god with the power of friendship.
It's an anime.
Well, we're not really killing a god. We are keeping a god from coming to Amaranta. We are sealing the dragons, not killing them.
So what you're telling me is that if I had believed in my friends more than I did, I could have overcome you.
No, your friends still wouldn't be as good as my friends.
Who makes the judgment and on that kind of math?
Me.
I suppose I don't have much choice but to accept that I'm the one stuck in this pendant and not you.
That's right. So I'm the one in charge.
Congratulations,
Now you have to listen to me.
Oh, God, sods.
Now you're the little brother.
Do you have a bag of holding?
Yes, I do.
Would me in it?
Why?
I don't want to hear you.
That's cold, brother. That's colder than that's colder than the cold that I feel on my scales.
Just giving you the cold shoulder. Put the pendant in against your shoulder.
Raiken puts the pendant against his shoulder.
Take that, and that.
Ah! Now his shoulder, now I'm gonna have to work that out a bit more. You asshole.
Why
Even
did you find it so easy to forgive me?
Well, it helps that we're family. Trust me, not everyone in the group believes you deserve the forgiveness.
I don't feel like I've done anything to deserve it.
Maybe not, but as my blood, I can't just throw you away like that. You taught me much. Maybe through this, I will teach you.
I meant what I said that when I told you that I regretted what happened in Arcosia.
Well, that's the start of your path of deserving to be forgiven. You must start regretting.
Do you still plan to go to our Evangard?
Yes.
You will need help.
Voice guy. This is to go fight the dragons, right?
You do currently plan to go to Evangard to fight the dragons? Yes.
Okay. Well, we have taken over your army that you had, and we have continued to train them to fight, and we are still hoping that we will get help from the other nations.
Did you find coffers?
Yes, we have talked to coffers.
He will help you to secure lines of supplies.
Yes, he has already begun. We were able to give him the necessary funds that you still had left over.
You'll need to find my second in command, and
We have done that as well.
really,
You're a little
really,
behind, brother.
Where did you find Keisuke?
What? Keisuke?
Yes, my second in command, and...
Okay, another pause. Where does this guy have? We haven't met Keisuke then?
You have met Keisuke once. I don't know that you ever
God.
talked. But you've seen them.
Okay. Well, I have not met Keisuke, but Yukikaze is leading as general of the army, so he might have talked to Keisuke.
Oh. I thought it might be you who would lead them.
Oh no, Yukikaze is the much better leader and speaker than I am. I am more of a weapon to do Cord's bidding.
I think what I wrote in the note was accurate then.
Yes, that's that little note. Quite the little surprise you left.
I trusted you to find it, and you did.
Yes. I'm surprised that you still had Mom's old trinket still. It brought back good memories. And also some not so good memories. It made me feel a bit of pain from the old days from that wooden spoon.
That's the benefit of green dragons, then. They don't tend to damage property.
That is true. That poison still sucks.
You can sense the bitter edge to this hollow, reverberating voice as he talks about the green dragons. It was not intended to be taken as actually good news.
Hmm. Either way, they will get what's coming to them.
Larmundus.
Yes.
You finish your conversation with Ruby and head upstairs. It's been a while. Maybe almost an hour that you spent with her exchanging stories and having a drink. It was a nice little mental getaway from everything else you've been dealing with recently. You head back up to the room, and you find Raiken talking to himself on the bed.
He is verbalizing things, and it appears he's having a conversation.
Yep.
To nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
You observe for 30 seconds, a minute, and he seems to pause and then respond as though someone is talking to him.
I'm going to say, "Are you quite all right?"
What? Oh, Laramendus, you're back. Well, I was just talking to my brother. And he's gonna, kind of pull the pendant up off of his chest and kind of, hold it in the air.
You see a small wisp of cold air curl around it and dissipate into the air.
Can I make an Arcana check?
You may.
It's a 17 on die. Excellent. That is a 37.
You
Jesus.
know that this is a token that contains Tatsuya's soul, according to Asmodeus. It is possible, even probable, that he is able to communicate with his brother's soul. But you did not hear anything. Could have to do with their familial bond. It could be because he's wearing the necklace. Or he could be suffering some PTSD from killing his brother.
And 'cause nobody else had made any comment about the necklace, like anything off about it.
I don't think anyone's brought it up, no.
Because I think people have like rolled
cold.
on things and like felt uncomfortable with it. I don't think anyone's actually said anything.
Yeah,
and
that's what I
Laramendus has
mean.
never held this thing.
Yeah.
I think that you should not be in physical contact with that until we can have a discussion around what he might be able to do, see, or otherwise influence.
Do you think I should put him in my bag of holding?
I think that that is probably a good idea for the moment.
You're just going to let him separate us, brother? Like that? When we're having such a breakthrough through?
What are you talking about? You were saying to go into the bag of holding just a little bit ago.
That was when you were trying to be torturous to me.
Oh, don't give me that. Just go into the bag. You'll be fine. We'll talk later.
I can't stop you from doing this, but I do not like it.
You'll be fine. Raiken will take off the necklace then and open his bag of holding and put it inside.
Once again, you hear nothing, Laramendus, but Raiken is verbalizing his conversation with the necklace.
I think Laramendus is looking very carefully at this and trying to gauge, like, if he's actually going to put it in the bag of holding. Like, he's watching very closely for that. But doesn't want to jump in until it would become clear that he was not going to do that. So,
Well, he puts it in the bag of holding.
excellent.
There we go.
I think that we should have a discussion around what happened there with everyone.
That's fine with me. I have nothing to hide. Shut up, brother! He opens the bag and yells at him.
I will also advise you to be cognizant of your location should you attempt to talk to him.
Ah, that's true. Yes. I will be more careful going forward. But hopefully that shouldn't be the case any longer now that I'm not wearing it.
I think I would like to potentially identify it at some point so that I can have a better understanding of its magic. Considering who it is a token from, we should be most cautious.
That's fine with me. Just let me know when.
I find the distrust here incredibly insulting. The King of Deals always delivers exactly what he says he will.
It's true. What exactly did he say that he... Because Laramentus remembers what exactly he said he was delivering.
He said it was a gift with no strings attached as a show of goodwill.
Okay.
Because Zariel had overstepped.
Okay.
Or, excuse me, Tiamat had overstepped, specifically. Not Zariel this time. This time, it was Tiamat.
So I think in that case, Laramentus probably wouldn't be as cautious about a lot of... He would be just as cautious about the, like, you need to be careful about who you're near if you go to talk to him. He still wants to identify it, but he's probably less concerned that this thing is going to possess you.
Don't spoil my fun.
He's not, like, not concerned about it, but he's not, like, as concerned.
With the necklace doused in the bag, Raiken seems to stop talking to himself. You recall Asmodeus' words when giving you this necklace. Do you return to the magnificent mansion at this time?
I think, seeing that there are still some of us not in the room, I think Laramentus would.
Okay. I believe Raiken could also tell you that they all said that that's where they were headed.
Yes. Everyone else has gone up to bed. Perhaps it's time we do as well.
I would recommend sleeping in the room itself, given when the mansion will end. I would be fine.
Sure.
Leah would be fine now. I don't know about the rest of you.
Such a gamble. I'm intrigued.
You are welcome to be tossed out onto the floor should you decide to attempt to sleep in.
Oh, maybe I should sleep in the room. You know, just kind of guard it a little bit.
Guard the room, so you're not going to go to the Magnificent Mansion after all?
I mean, how late is it?
It's bedtime now.
Yeah, I think Raiken's just gonna go to bed.
Okay. Laramentus, you go to the mansion because nobody else is in the room.
Do I still smell the lingering
Yeah.
effects of...
Yeah.
Oh, thank
You
God
you
Raiken
also
doesn't
smell
have to-
the notes of incense, as somebody has been burning quite a lot of it.
I feel like at where I am, it's probably like mingling in the worst way possible. It's just...
Why didn't I put Anesis bags in this place?
just walk it, make a face, and be like, this is...
Sebastian appears just like holding a tray with a carafe of water on it and a smug expression on his face.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Bows low, holding the tray up so it doesn't actually move. A little tumbler appears upon it for you to decant the water to.
He has a glass, and I think that he would assume that they're in the library if they're not, for the people who are not in bed, just because there's not a lot of
The rest of
places
the
here
space
other than that.
Yeah. This area is all living space. The workspace is the library. Or, you know, out in the garden if somebody is,
About to turn into a purple worm.
Yeah. You
How
find...
much time did that Clarimentus?
So as Laramentus gets closer and closer, the smell gets worse and worse, and he's just I think at this point he might have, taken out a handkerchief and cast prestidigitation on it, kind of thing. Like, repeatedly.
You can see that there is a workspace up there. You see that it is splashed with all manner of foul fluids. You can see that there is a pile of empty glass flasks, and that the two alchemy boys are working on rolling this stuff into sticks and putting fuses on them.
It seems that the two... I think Laraminus is all the way over here. It seems that the two of you were successful in endeavors.
Yeah, look at how much TNT we got. That's 17 sticks.
Laraminus is sufficiently horrified.
I'm gonna blow so many things up.
We will certainly have to discuss how we can utilize those in our plans.
Oh, and now that you're here, we're just about done with this. Can we milk some... Can you turn on the purple worm so I can milk you?
So forward.
Laraminus gives an expression like he was hoping that you wouldn't think of that. Say, well, it is just about time to rest, and I have not used my 9th level spell slot today.
We can't let it go to waste.
I think that we should do that out in the garden space, just to have a bit more area. I know that some people are sleeping here in the mansion. Raiken is sleeping in the room. To anyone who... I think over the telepathic bond, Laraminus will say, to anyone sleeping in the mansion, do be cognizant of when it will disappear. And at the very least, we should move any of our equipment into the room so that it is not spilled out in a way that might be dangerous.
Over the bond, I think Leah will acknowledge and say, okay, in that case, I think I will sleep in the room and not come back to the mansion.
And then I think Laraminus pulls out a very exquisite tiara. Says, I suppose we should get this over with. Then just almost sullenly marches out.
Time to do some Moon Tiara magic.
Yeah.
I think it's a tiara that's the focus for the spell. So yeah, Laraminus will put the circlet on his head, and then I think it's just an action to cast the spell. Yeah, it's an action. It's a concentration spell. Then the telepathically you will hear Laraminus's voice explaining the function of the spell, because I don't think that he's actually talked about how it works before. So, I mean, mechanically, he keeps his mental faculties. And I think if he turns into something that can spellcast, he can spellcast. Like, it's Druid's wild shape, but it lets me turn into anything of my level CR or lower. And I think it's as an action I can transform into something else. Yeah, as an action I can transform into something else. My HP will always go down as the maximum of... Or it's the lower of whatever the HP for the creature is, or
Your HP.
my current HP.
Yeah. So you're you're a purple worm with just 100 HP.
No, I think that the first time it gives me the full thing.
Oh.
And then it becomes, like, if I turn from a purple worm into, like, a young silver dragon, and then I turn back into a purple worm, I have the health of a young silver dragon.
I see. Very well. You cast your spell after explaining its function to Vendar. And rather rapidly, and in the style of the Hulk, You see as Laramanda's skin turns purple and begins to become tumorous and bulbous, and he expands into a 35-foot-long, chitinous worm that is just laid out along the grass here. You can hear the blades of grass crunching and flattening beneath his weight. Because, because the telepathic bond is integrated into your soul, you can still use it.
Yeah. That's why I said that he's in the middle of like transforming as he's explaining everything, and like so the end of the explanation is a purple worm telepathically saying, you know, what a 9th level spell means.
Suddenly you find you're not nose blind anymore, Vendar, and this thing smells awful. It brings back so many memories of that time in the desert all those months ago. That month ago!
That means more purple worm poison.
So, like a trip to the dentist, Larmendus, you open wide, and Vendar, you're able to just walk right inside like a tunnel of love.
Oh, this is so much better.
I mean,
this
he's
is one
not...
of the most uncomfortable things Larmendus has ever done.
He's not trying to eat you, so you're not stuck, but you are still pushing your way through the digestive tract of a living creature, so it is going to be, through no fault of Larmendus' own, digesting you. Luckily, from the last time you were inside one of these, a carcass though it was, you do know exactly where to find the venom sacs. If you wanted to directly drain them, that would be a lot faster than just having the worm bite something and inject it with poison. I don't know what you'd even use.
Yes, I would like to just drain the best.
Alright, give me some dexterity checks.
How many?
3. And, Jebel...
That's me.
He immediately jumped up and went to go do this. You can continue to roll the TNT. There's just a couple left to do. Or you can come out and witness this as well. What's your preference?
I'm gonna go out and have a look.
Okay. You see as Larmendus becomes this worm, everyone on the bond is hearing this explanation. So for some, it's a little out of context. But you hear the explanation as Larmendus becomes a worm, and then fucking giddy, Vendar, just marches around.
I think that's what makes it worse.
To the front of this
how excited he is.
You see the purple worm kind of like, you see, you almost feel like it's clearing its throat, even though that does not at all sound like what's happening, and it straightens up, and the maw opens, but in an inviting way as opposed to an aggressive way. There is nothing natural about what you're seeing. And Vendar walks right in. You can hear his boots splashing in stomach acid.
You said it's just this 30 check?
Yeah, 3 checks.
Splish splash.
I rolled very well. 22, a 23, and a 25.
Okay.
I imagine you are hurting me with each thing, even if only a little bit.
Yeah.
Which does cause a Constitution saving throw. Because it's a concentration check.
Oh, he could knock you out.
I do have Warcaster, so I have advantage.
Okay, you have advantage.
And I'm using the Purple Worm's Constitution.
Okay. I mean, he's not going to be doing more than probably 10 damage in a single hit. He's definitely doing less than 22 damage, so you only have to make DC 10 checks.
The first one was a 17 on die.
Okay.
And the second one, 14 on die,
Okay.
and then a nat 20.
Okay. So you manage to hold the shape despite that there is a searing, burning pain inside of you every time he locates a venom sac, you know, exposes enough of it to get a vial under it, and then jams a knife in and cuts it open. You're able to you're able to fill several vials directly like this. Over the course of this, there is the acid that you're wading through. Well, and standing in to do this, so I would like you to take 15 points of acid damage as you perform this operation.
Okay.
That is... You're standing in it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep, I just took the damage.
But, luckily your boots are magic, and pretty much everything else on you is magic. So...
Yeah, my boots and armor, my hat, all of it. Magic.
Yeah, everything. The bow technically isn't magic. Its bowstring is, but you can always just leave the bow out, or bag it before you go in.
Yeah, I imagine I have it in the bag of holding at the moment.
And so after, you know, a few minutes of this very uncomfortableness, I don't know if you want to get in on that, Jebel.
I'm fine.
You don't want to see what the inside of a live worm looks like?
I think I've been inside one, haven't I?
Yeah, you have, but it was dark. Like,
Oh,
he's
I
allowed to
was
take a light source in with him.
It's got ash floating around him.
This form does not appear healthy any longer, Scholar. I do not recommend keeping it. Scholar, I found something fascinating in here.
Yeah, I mean,
what is that?
I bet that there's not a lot of, like, good documentation about, like, a live purple worm, you know?
Not a live one, no. So the exact functionality of its vascular system might not be fully rendered in the books. But, you know, these are not things that never appear, and so they are killed from time to time, and those have been studied.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. I think that they would still be more interested in behavior than simple mechanics.
Yeah.
And
this purple worm is not behaving like a normal purple worm.
no, it does not seem to be. It's very docile. Anyway, so you witness this. You spend several minutes out here watching the worm as it kind of twitches and writhes, and its chitinous flesh ripples unnaturally, and you can hear this muffled commentary by Ash, who is inside the worm, illuminating the place for Vendar. And eventually he comes back out, you know, just jingling his bag of holding. Minutes. How many glass vials do you have?
30.
You are able to fill 23 of them with unrefined purple worm venom.
Fucking nice!
Damn.
It will probably render down to a little less than that at the end, but, like, that's a haul. Far better, I think, than you did from the purple worm that you killed. Perhaps not.
Yeah, a lot.
But
I think.
This is something you could, Lerman is willing, do every day.
I'll fit the entire army with purple worm poison.
Disgusting.
He's like, where are you getting this, Lerman? This just has a 1,000-yard stare.
I don't want to talk about it.
He completes his grisly work in your guts and exits through your open mouth. He is clearly, you can see patches of the skin on his face reddened from exposure to the acid inside your body. You may resume your elven form if you wish. Or you can stay like that, I don't care.
Just like, whatever, whatever you want to do, I mean. I think Laramendas will ask, are you finished?
Yeah, I think that's good for the night. Thanks, man. I have to do it again as often as possible.
I hesitate to ask, but is there something other than a purple worm that it would be beneficial for me to turn into?
Can I think of anything else that has poison?
Wyvern?
I can go with it.
Pseudo-dragon? Many types of giant spider?
I wonder if I could refine purple worm poison even more. Maybe I could mix it with other poisons and make it even more deadly.
Most
The
things,
purple worm in front of you just shudders.
most things' toxins aren't as potent as purple worm venom, so mixing it with anything else tends to dilute it more than empower it. Purple worm is kind of the pinnacle of natural venoms. But others have other effects, like pseudo-dragon venom tends to put people to sleep. Knock them unconscious. Even if it doesn't do a lot of damage. That could be a terrifying combination were you to refine that.
And combine it in some way so that it could use the DC of the purple worm poison.
Yeah, make it a DC 19 con check. If they fail by 5 or more, they're unconscious, and they took ridiculous amounts
They're
of damage.
poisoned, unconscious, and, like 5d6 of poison damage or something.
Yeah.
Drowning on their own vomit as they just...
I love it.
I knocked him out. He aspirated. I killed him! So, do you request any other forms?
Yeah, let's get some pseudo dragon poison, see if I can make that a reality.
You're welcome, Sam.
The purple worm turns into a pseudo-dragon.
It goes from gigantic to very small. See if there's anything like a pseudo-dragon in here. I don't think that looks terribly like a pseudo-dragon. But it doesn't look not like a pseudo-dragon either. You wanna be a sphinx? I think we're gonna go with that weird thing that's sort of really not a pseudo-dragon, but good enough. Harpy? Yeah, let's go with that. Where are you? Ew. Morphs. Everybody's getting morphs now. Now that they're available, everybody morphs. Boop! Boop! It's
a reasonable approximation. All things considered.
It's the closest I had in there, and it's reasonable. This one you can just milk like a snake. You gotta get its tail and... Oh. Well, we don't have to talk about that. You milk the tail. You guys have never been closer as men. Which, honestly, it's a little disconcerting because, like, you were Vendar's best friend.
I don't... Let me check something.
You turn into a pseudo-dragon?
Not pseudo-dragons, but I'm pretty sure... Purple worms are they abominations?
No, I believe they're monstrosities.
Monstrosities.
Thank God Raiken's not here.
You remember your staff has the ability to store a monstrosity that you can turn into anytime you want, but if you want to turn into a different monstrosity, it replaces the old one.
I think the current one is Displacer Beast, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I'm glad you did. Just go poke the purple worm with your staff. Be like, mine.
I mean, I could turn back into the purple worm for that. It would just be a purple worm with like 3 HP.
I go and get more venom. It dies. It becomes Laramendus. You get expelled from Lair's body. As he becomes an elf again. That's uncomfortable. Okay. Yeah. Roll me a poisoner's kit check.
Oh my god, another net 25. Or, it's...
Huh. Well.
Isn't that... What do I... Poisoners? Is that just proficiency?
Yeah.
Alright, then it's my
And your medicine.
And
I think we've been using wisdom as the stat.
Yeah, because he was using medicine.
Yeah.
Alright, we're using medicine, then it's a 28.
Okay. Well, you're feeling kind of tapped, actually, Lair. Your precious bodily fluids are running low. According to the die, you get 1 vial worth of unrefined pseudo-dragon poison.
Only 1 vial.
They're very small creatures.
Very small. Very small. Well, hopefully...
There's always tomorrow.
Is there anything else?
You are feeling tapped.
I think I'm good.
Excellent.
Thanks, Blair.
As like a pseudo-dragon, you like focus on extracting more of your own venom, and just this little trickle comes off the end of the hook and just drips into the grass. You're like, yep, that's all I got.
Laramendus turns back and appears more like gaunt than he was before. Not like a lot, because magic, but like maybe it's just the haunted look in his eyes for what has just happened. That might be the reason for it, but either way.
You have like this little tickle in your throat that's just not going away. As though there's something...
Sebastian comes and offers another glass of water.
Sebastian is standing there with the tray, with the carafe and the tumbler.
Thank you, Sebastian.
It's wine this time. It's a
Thank
white.
you, Sebastian.
He just dips kind of low. And as he comes back up, those blue eyes again. And he fades away. But yeah, it's just almost like there's just just a little. You wash it away, but it just felt like there was something still kicking around in your throat.
It feels like I can taste the shoe. I can't, but like I can at the same time.
you just kind of look at Vendar and you're like, I'm gonna have you wipe your feet before you enter next time.
I mean, given what I did all day, I can't imagine it tasted good.
Now that you're this close to him, which you had not gotten earlier, you can smell the manure on him.
As I said, consider your sleeping arrangements. I'm going to rest in the room.
How long do I think it would take to refine the poison? Is that something that would take hours and hours, or is it something I could do before bed?
It's probably a morning task.
Okay.
You've been at it all day. I mean,
Then I will...
your excitement can carry you through, for sure.
I was thinking more, because I imagine it's probably going to be more stinky.
Redward is, like, next to you with a cup of coffee.
I mean, it's there's no way it can be worse than making the nitro.
Oh yeah, but I was going to take a shower before going, or, like, bath before going to bed to clean off.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to risk going over that time and giving yourself levels exhaustion, you should probably bathe now.
Alright, then I'll bathe now and go to sleep, and I'll do that in the morning. I'll be stinky again tomorrow.
Alright then, Jebel, you are able to finish off the last of those sticks of TNT.
I'll get the TNT and finish that off before taking the shower and stuff.
So you just go in and scoop those up away from him as he finishes them for you?
I'll go and like, hey, thanks for finishing these. And then I will start putting them in the bag of holding.
Do you want to pocket any of those, Jeb, or are you going to let him take them all?
I'm going to let him take them all. I don't really think I need any of them.
Okay. Fair enough. Would you also like to bathe before heading back to the inn? Or even, are you going to stay here through the night, perhaps?
Think off. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Larmendus, you may return to the inn. Stinky boys, you can bathe. Raiken is out there. Yukikaze has incensed himself into a nice little coma. You haven't seen Yukikaze, and you do know that he took some of the literature from Tatsuya's room there. In case that was something that you wanted to address sooner rather than later, otherwise.
I think Laramentis would prefer to wait until morning just to be more certain that we're all, like, together.
Okay.
For the discussion around that. And just in case Yukikaze... Because Yukikaze hasn't responded over the bond when Laramentis was talking about the, like, timing of things and all of that, so he might also just be making the assumption that he's already asleep.
Okay. Just so that nothing was missed, Yuki, did you want to remain unresponsive to stuff happening on the bond, or did you want to weigh in on any of the things you'd heard? Okay, so we will pass the night. Stinky boys bathe. Lair goes back to the inn. The next morning, all of you may gain the benefits of a long rest. You may all gain the benefits of a long rest.
Excellent.
Here we go.
Here we go.
The simulacra are still there. No one ordered them to dispel, so let us grab a
Just playing cards or something.
Raiken. Oops. Lair. Well, bye, Lair. Jebel. Leah's already here. Cyrus is gone again. Oh, no one bore witness to it. Ruby. Alright, so put these two over here for now. Boop. There should be 5 of you. There are. Good. All is, in fact, well. Alright. Get to the next day. Atmosphere. Sky. Day. Not night meadow. Sure, that one. Fly. There we go. You wake up the next day. The people who were in the Magnificent Mansion are either they leave or they are ejected. Either way, you all end up in this room. Leave Leon's bed for now. The simulacra are just playing some innocuous game. Something quiet. Mahjong.
Click, click, click.
You wake up to that.
Where did they? Never mind. The tiles are pieces of a wall of stone.
The Magnificent Mansion disappears and is inaccessible until cast again. Right, can you wake up in this room? Everybody is back by one means or another. Hey, I forgot a token. Bam. Now everyone is back.
Oh, thank God.
By one means or another.
Do people want me to recast the Magnificent Mansion so we again have a more isolated private space?
Yes.
I don't mind.
Still need to refine purple worm poison, and I don't think they would be appreciative if I would do that. But,
What?
yes, I don't think anyone would be happy with me if I did that. So
Ridiculous.
So I will cast it in the same place. I think that alongside us, Laraminus is also designating Fandros. Would he designate Ruby? I think he would. So I think that us, Seltharis, Fandros, and Ruby are the ones who can enter the mansion.
Shit. There's Seltharis.
And the simulacra.
I never made Beltharis a unique token. I think she just got deleted. We can rebuild her. We have the technology. It was a halfling.
Oh, this is what the halfling goes through. It is uncomfortable.
Damn it, was it this one? I think that might have been her. Guess so. Alright, you get to be named Beltharis.
Congratulations on your promotion.
And you get to be... Well... Oh. I don't think they're that small. Are they?
Are they?
Well, I mean... You know... Not that small. They would be half squares normally. Boop. Wait, she used to be that small. There we go. Almost forgot about... Did she end up somewhere else? Did I leave her over at the training mountain? Left Lorelei over there. Maybe I did. No.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, there she is. You have morphs?
Yeah,
She does
there
have
are two.
morphs. Alright, this Beltharis is better.
I've also changed my spells around a little bit, if only to include Fabricate. I
Okay.
don't know what I'm getting rid of and other things that are changing around, but I will at the very... I'll sit down and pay attention to that when I'm not involved in a scene.
Alright.
But I definitely have Fabricate, because I had told Ruby that I would have it.
Sounds good. Alright, you're awake. Magnificent Mansion is recast. People are either on the bond or not on the bond as they desire. You know that you can change it at will.
Yay.
So, perhaps you want to talk? Perhaps Yukikaze has something to say? Is he alive?
He's muted. But I think my immediate plans are to go and speak with Ruby to see about fixing the wall, because I intend to cast my spell to see if I can figure out what was disintegrated when the trap was triggered.
Alright.
I think that the simulacra can continue with their my simulacrum can continue with its instruction in the same manner that it was yesterday. I do not think that Cyrus's simulacrum is safe doing that kind of combat training.
What do you mean? You just gotta pay to heal him by using a workshop that you totally have.
Oh, it's so expensive to heal one of those things. It's like an hour and like 50 gold per HP.
Yeah, and he let himself get decently low.
So we should determine if there is anything
Oh no,
that...
Cyrus let himself get no.
Yes, yeah. No, I had the simulacrum with me, so
But the
Cyrus
simulacrum
got
is
her. But
fine.
so Laramendus is like, we shouldn't have Cyrus's simulacrum do what Cyrus was doing because it's too dangerous to the construct. But I suppose he could assist my simulacrum in magical instruction. 'Cause I think you had said that there were some sorcerers.
Yes. There are definitely some that, had magical ability, that surpassed what they could have learned to do, at the university in the short time they were there.
Does anyone have concerns with that behavior for the simulacra?
Nope.
Does anyone wish to join me in investigating the disintegrated, presumably missives?
What's up with it?
I heard that you said something. I did not parse what you said.
What's up with that? Because I wasn't there.
Oh, when we were going through Tatsuya's belongings, there were 3 containers that were warded. One of them was warded to disintegrate itself in all of its contents, and the wall. I intend to use my spell to see what we have lost when we triggered the trap. My dispel magics were insufficient. Lermendus looks like it's a very distasteful thing for him to say.
No, smart. Okay, you need the spyglass for that, don't you?
Yes, if you could hand that to me so I can use it for...
spyglass. Because I'm going to be refining for form poison, so...
So he's going back into the mansion.
Just opens the door. Sir Fredward, it's time for work. The door closes.
The magnificent mansion smells great today. You haven't destroyed this one.
About 15 minutes of that.
To answer your question earlier, no, Yukikaze's not going to bring up anything in discussion. He's just going to keep reading.
Oh. Okay, well, the group is aware that you have these papers that you're going through, and ignoring them to do so.
Have you found anything that seems pertinent, Yukikaze, or do you need more time to go through the documents?
Oh, out of character. I thought it was just Tristan asking if I wanted to add in at the moment. You actually asked, as a party member asked about it?
Yeah, so, like, if you are visibly distracted by that while we're discussing what we're going to do for the day, Lermendus will absolutely ask you that.
Oh, for the day. Did we sleep?
Yep.
Yes.
You got a long rest.
Oh, well, okay, that's whatever.
And the mansion, which you were sleeping in, disappeared, so you would be here in this room, regardless, as he has to recast it.
Okay.
If only it was one of those spells that you could just keep casting in the same place, and then be permanent.
I guess they didn't want to have to answer the question of, if it's supposed to be able to sustain creatures on a day-to-day, but is that per casting, or if you make it permanent, does it have a finite resource, or is it always infinite? And if so, why doesn't everybody do that?
Every
and feed the
24 hours.
world?
Yeah, there's a lot of logistical issues with making that spell permanent, because also like the malleability of the spell,
Yeah.
like because every time you cast it, you get to choose what it's like. But if you
If you permanent it, then you don't.
or do like maybe the first time you go into it every day, you can.
You can just
Who's to
actively
say?
change it at will.
Now it's
like
just a water
shifting
coaster.
as you walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that could cause.
Because I'll just quickly ask the question about if anyone knew about why the mountains would have a big issue with. Or no, I knew why it'd be an issue, but
You knew there were stories, but there wasn't. You'd never been there yourself, but the rest of the party has.
so I'm gonna just ask everyone: have they been there, and why? If the stories are true, and then what could have Tatya possibly have done to make it so it's passable? Well, I'll ask the party.
Hey, should I
Sorry.
roll history? I have not been to Ebengard, but I've been near Ebengard, I think.
I'll get a history from the others, or see if the players remember. Vendar and Raiken.
it's been a long time.
Vendar and Raiken, and nobody else.
Yeah, it's just us. We're the only ones that were there. And
I mean, Leah, if she was here.
Mhm.
So what's the questions that we're answering?
Is the stories true that the mountains there are practically are impassable? And what is the possibility that Tatsuya was there any knowledge of you that you would know that Tatsuya could use to get through them?
Well, voice in the sky. Are they impassable? I mean, is that where we went on
just
our
rolled.
original journey?
Yes. I want to. Vendar, what?
I just rolled history,
You rolled
and I
this.
got my third nat 20 of the night.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I also rolled a nat 20.
Oh my god.
It's lucky day. It's our lucky day.
I guess good thing. I was hoping there might be some memory, but it is a long time back to think. To answer the question, yeah. You guys, to answer Raiken's question, yes. You started this journey in Ebengard, in the capital of Ebengard, the city of Dragon's Hearth, and then you traveled down and you passed the mountains at a town called Gateway. And it was this walled-in fortress city that guarded a cut path through the mountain to another walled-in city in Vardaftan. And that's where we met the guy whose name is very much a subject of debate all these years later.
Oh yeah, Sarah Spacey last day.
Yeah, it's not the name I have written down. I have Bjorn, but whatever.
Oh, okay. I remember the city names.
Yeah, Gateway.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason this was important was because it was controlling the only pass into Ebengard from the rest of Emeranta. They have a basically impenetrable mountain range because they're very high and very tightly packed and just form a nice straight line all the way across this northern border. And so Gateway is pretty much the only way through the mountains. It's also all the way to the west in Vardaftan, the Dwarven nation. That's what you remember about this. So you know that this mountain range is very passable, but you have to go all the way to Vardaftan to do it and pass through Gateway.
So there's really only one way. So it's essentially a bottleneck. Yeah, they're pretty much impassable other than one route that you have to go through a town called Gateway.
Yeah, we'd probably be better off just using our excessive amounts of magic to teleport the army there.
Oh no, I was just Tatsuya was just in his letters was just stating because they were bringing up the subject of the mountain pass in their discussions and meetings, and Tatsuya just told everyone, said, "Don't worry about it. I got it taken care of." So he had some way of getting through the mountains.
I mean, you could march an army through the pass as long as the people at Gateway were letting you in on the other side.
Yeah, that's wonder if he either had someone there that would allow that, or if the whole town was on his side.
You know that this doesn't match up with the notes, Yukikaze, because he said that he was going to march his army up the Thanandir-Aspara border to the mountains, which is the very center of the mountain range. And they just told you that Gateway is in Vardavton, which is all the way on the west end.
Oh. Well, then I will mention that to the party. They'll say it doesn't match up with the notes, actually, now that I think about it. And it's, where Tatsuya was taking the army was right through the center. So I'll state that.
As far as I'm aware, there's no way through in the center. But maybe Tatsuya had some trick up his sleeve. He did have connections with a lot of people and angels and shit, so he seemed to have some sort of plan for it, but short of asking him, I don't know how we'd know what it was.
I think Laramidas will look at Raiken and say, should we ask him?
Raiken, it is relevant now for you to remember that one of the things your brother told you last night was to find his second-in-command, Keisuke.
Yukikaze, have you talked to a soldier named Dragonborn soldier named Keisuke?
No, I have not.
Apparently, we should go find him, as he was Tatsuya's second-in-command.
You may all roll history.
Vandro's was second in command.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, I only rolled
It's
a 10
not a
this
nat
time,
20.
so-
Was, however, a nat 19. 33.
$33.
17.
17.
I got a 19.
19. Yukikaze? History? Jebel history?
Wait, you said double history?
Jebel history. You history, Jebel history.
Okay, I just needed a second to get to my dice. It was 21 for me.
21. Jebel?
19.
19. Pretty good. Pretty good.
19 on die.
Oh, what's the total?
19.
Oh, you have plus 0 on history.
Still pretty nice, the 19.
Yeah, still pretty good.
It was better than I rolled 9 plus 7.
Alright, average 21 on history. You all remember that when you encountered Tatsuya, or technically the second time, in Sudaran, he brought a force of Dragonborn with him to try and take the Scale of Widemir from the Lich, Tresnor. There was one soldier there who seemed to stand above the rest in a role supporting and worrying for Tatsuya. One who was very distraught when you turned him into a snail and kidnapped him. And after he was restored to his form, this was one of the few soldiers who had survived the assault on the Platinum Sentinels. This soldier teleported, I think, the one other remaining soldier away from there. That was Keisuke. The last time you saw them was Sudaran, and you know that they are a magic caster.
We have not seen him.
No. You have not seen him.
Huh. Alright.
Well, we should probably figure out where he is so that we can try to find out whatever information that maybe Tatsuya's told him.
Alright. I would say that probably after we finish with because Larry Mandis wanted to do something. We'll finish up that, and maybe I'll go find, I forgot. No, not coffers. Either coffers or,
You did promise to go and give the money to coffers?
Yeah, but Vendar's brother.
Right, but you should go and see coffers first to give him the money.
Yeah, I'm going to. Well, you mean while you're doing what you're doing?
I don't need anyone who wants to stay with me and look through the papers that are no longer with us is welcome to, but it is probably more efficient if we split up a bit more. I don't need anyone with me to do my work.
Okay, well then.
I can perfectly well see into the past and disintegrate myself on my own.
And I'll see if I'll find Vendar's brother and ask him about what he knows about this individual also.
I shall come with you.
Okay, so you're going to take money from Vendar, give it to coffers, and then seek out Thandros to ask about Keisuke. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Vendar, you are going to part with the 30 bars of gold and head into the mansion to do your dirty work.
Yep.
Jebel.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in particular
I
you would
have-
like to do, or would you like to be the one officer actually doing his job and training the army?
I have no idea what else I would do, so I guess, yeah, that sounds like something productive.
You don't have to do that, but I figured I might suggest it in case you didn't have another idea, and it is a good idea to go train the army. You can
That's
take...
why the simulacra are doing that.
Well, true.
We'll have, like, one of the guys with no, like, real martial prowess or anything like that. Kind of go, yeah, I swing that sword. No, I think, yeah, pointy end, yeah.
I suppose you can always just wild shape and attack them and have them fight your wild shapes, because you can do that infinitely.
Oh, yeah, that's...
So terrifying.
You just keep turning into different lizard-like animals and attacking them until they kill that form, then you change into another one.
Primal stuff, you too. You can tell them about plants that are in the cold that, you know, in case of emergency for food and stuff, what they can eat to survive.
Druids are good at that.
Elemental wild shapes help them to adapt to, like...
Gather round, I'm gonna turn into a
Different
fire
scenarios.
elemental. Here's what dragon breath feels like.
Like a water elemental coming along and then trying to wash them away. Give them good experience and like how to try and keep their footing.
Yeah. Air
like that.
elementals gusting them like the blasts from dragon wings.
All that, yeah.
Yeah, you can go and do that, and Seltharis will accompany you. She's very much enjoying getting to play the bad guy here and get the soldiers to try and fight her in her draconic form. Seems odd, honestly, how much she's enjoying that.
Just like thinking in the back of one's mind, should we be concerned about this? It's probably fine. Unless.
we get to the fight. She's just like, I decided to switch sides. This is too much fun.
No, for the portion of the party that's been in Seltharis' presence in the past, when she came to visit you at Ardenhere's Oasis after you resurrected her, one thing that is clear about Seltharis' personality is that she is very comfortable being herself among mortals and likes spending time with mortals. So fighting them is the odd part, but enjoying herself around mortals, that actually kind of fits the little bit of her personality that you do all know. I think of the group here, only Jebel wasn't there for that.
No, I was not.
But everybody else was. Oh, Bruinor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is,
So it gets kind of confusing. It gets kind of confusing where I'm just like, hey, who was there for that now? Was it Jebel or was it Bruinor?
yeah. I mean, I've got a
So
pretty
odd.
good idea of where that line is. Pretty okay at
It's
keeping
with
that
them.
straight in my mind. But that's not the point. The reason I say, oh, Bruinor, is because you, as Jebel, have brought up in the past curiosity about being able to do anything for him. Is that something that's still on Jebel's mind ever?
I brought it up. Nobody else said anything about it, so I don't know.
That was a while back when you were much lower levels and
Yeah,
resources were not as abundant as they are now.
Yeah, like
There's
2
probably
months
nothing
ago,
that we could
like
have
ages
thought
ago.
to do back then, but now it is much easier to do horrifying things.
I mean, remember that Jebel came to the party in Braithen, where Bruenor was lost, which means that you can literally go there instantly with transit via plans.
That's true.
Just,
Field trip.
since you tell me you're not sure what else you might do, this is something interesting that you could explore now. You have the time and the resources to explore it, so understand that it's on the table.
Field trip.
This period before you go fight the dragons, this is your chance to tie up any loose ends.
This is the part of the video game RPG where you take
yeah,
as
the
long
warning
as
comes up.
possible. You do all the side quests.
You know that there's a time consequence, but you guys actually have the ability to do things very fast. Especially when you factor in things like Wish.
Good old Wish.
like Jebel could potentially get this done in an afternoon.
Yeah. No, you really could. It might not even take you that long. Depending on how it goes. Depending on what you want to accomplish. Because it's seriously 6 seconds and you're in Braithen.
Yeah.
You know, if you need to go dig this guy up, Earth Elemental form, ba-ba-ba-ba-boom,
Yep.
you can immediately just go burrowing through the ground and find whatever's left of him down there.
Raiken would be willing to go, but he doesn't. I don't know if Raiken has anything that would be of any help.
Screen presence.
True.
Okay, this is something.
I mean, it was something you brought up a long time ago, and now I'm thinking you have an opportunity to actually try to do something with it. So I'd like to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
I recommend pitching it to the party and seeing if anybody other than Raiken is interested in helping.
So, I turn to everyone else there and say, I recall, when I first joined you, you had just lost, one of your companions. I believe, petrified in an underground lair. That was how it was described to me.
Correct. Petrified and buried.
Sorry?
Or petrified and buried.
Yeah. It's entirely possible we could do something about that now.
You think we could save Bruenor?
Well, at the very least, well, we could unpetrify him, and he might survive.
What if he's been smashed to pieces?
If we could acquire a piece, then we could perform stronger magics than it would take just to unpetrify him and mend the petrified person and then resurrect them and be like, I hope he doesn't fall apart.
Isn't that what Tron does in Dr. Stone?
I do not know.
Flesh to stone. Shape earth.
So I just gesture and like, I can head over there today. I mean, I've been there before. They have trees.
I probably could stay here and manage the army.
Uh, I would be willing to go after Yukikaze and I are done finding this case guy.
Do we have any idea where he is?
That's where we're going to find out. From hopefully Thandros could maybe point us the way.
I would be unsurprised if Keisuke was not on this island and he was instead where the army was intending to march to. Making his preparations for whatever he intended to do.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Well,
And that is to ask around.
yeah.
Lerman just say, we can send Cyrus's simulacrum with you, Jebel, if you think that he would be beneficial.
Maybe.
I believe No, he does not have his 9th level spell because he used it to create both of them. So
But he has his 8th.
it's true. I don't know what his spells are.
They're sorcery.
I know he has Demiplane. It's an 8th level spell.
So they only remember we're here when we're useful, huh?
Click. Did you expect anything else, Reichi?
Damn it. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. I hoped for better.
You should get used to disappointment when it comes to them.
You know, you'd think I'd have known that from the creator's memories.
The self-loathing I feel towards constructs is interesting. Didn't expect that.
I didn't get that one. You did?
Lucky.
Sorry. Do you think I'm going to explode if I don't cast? Like the creator would have?
Huh. Simulacrum Lurmendus is going to roll an Arcana check. It's a 10 on die. I think he has a... He has a plus 16?
Jeez.
Is he... No, let's see. He doesn't have Banish or the Tiara. It's plus 15, so he got a 25.
It's possible. He would definitely show signs before it happened.
I think we'll have enough warning before you would blow up, but...
He grows an extra ear.
It would be interesting to see. That might be a warning.
Click. What?
You didn't hear me?
No, I heard you really well. It's weird. Coming in like stereo mono. She's got 3 ears, 2 on one side.
Simulacrum. I propose that we have Simulacrum Cyrus cast something. I don't know what, but I would prefer that he not explode on my students.
I can cast Demiplane.
It's not particularly helpful at the
I
moment.
can turn into a dragon.
It's also not particularly helpful at the moment.
I don't think I can explode. I'm not a sorcerer. I mean, I am, but not like that. I'm a dragon. Which is also a sorcerer, but I don't think dragons explode past a certain age. Dad never exploded. Third ear just goes away.
We're probably fine then.
So, let's run through this then. Yukikaze, you get the bars of gold from Vendar. You take the bars of gold to Coffers, who seems joyful, saying that this is exactly what you need to extend the army's stay here and bring in the supplies that he needs, based on the communications he has from the ally nations. And he will get right to work on that. Then you are going to go and begin training them in survival again, similar to the previous day.
Yeah, to instruct. Well, I'm gonna my whoever's tied up. I'll be checking in, just giving. I'll be doing a little bit of everything.
Okay. You
Not
do
just-
now have, remember, you have the org chart, so you can more effectively utilize officers who are not your party.
Yeah, and know what they're capable of and all that. Yep.
Yeah, and know what they're, and who they're usually working with and all that. Correct. So, you may use that to your advantage and get some better effect out of this. While your party is doing their thing, you can delegate within the army better. So, you do that.
Yep. And what actually, we didn't talk to Vendar's brother yet. Did I find him and talk to him yet?
Thandros?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a simple matter to find Thandros, as he is always making himself available to you. So, I believe the others were also looking for Thandros, so after you deal with Coffers, you and the other two can find Thandros. So, Thandros will, as you find him outside the inn, seemingly to have recently had his breakfast and perhaps gotten in a morning run, you see a sheen of sweat on his face. He will look to you and say, "Oh, General, good morning. You are ready for another day of training with the soldiers, then?"
Yes, but I also have a question before we get to that.
Whatever I can help you with, General.
You said Kotetsu?
Keisuke.
Keisuke. So, I'll be like, do you know an individual Keisuke?
Keisuke. Is this one of the Dragonborn who served under the former general?
Yes.
I only briefly met any of them, but I'm guessing if you're looking for them, it would be his magic caster.
That's what we've come to the conclusion also. We're trying to find out some information about this individual.
I see. I can only tell you that he worked very closely with former General Tatsuya well before I joined up, and I never saw him on this island. I know that he did a lot of special jobs, given that he had teleportation magic. He could get where the general needed him very fast and return very quickly. So he was very often not here.
Now, real quick, do you know anyone that knows him better here, possibly?
There may still be some of the soldiers, the Arcosian soldiers. But I don't know if you want to talk to them. They're what you might call a holdout faction. They're going to work with the army, they're going to see it to victory, but they are distrustful of the power shift. And
Okay.
I haven't been able to convince them otherwise. I have, along with your own efforts, we have prevented their unrest from spreading to the rest of the army, but they are not pleased. If you want, I can try to talk to them. I just worry that if you go, they'll either be hostile or it will reopen a currently not festering wound, or at least not visibly festering.
I trust your judgment, and if you would, I'd appreciate it.
Very well. If I gain any information that you can act on about this Keisuke, I will let you know.
Thank you very much.
Vendar!
All right, and I'll just tell him thank you again, and I will work on. I'm going to start the training for the army.
Of course, General. I will join you shortly. Vendar, why do you stink?
Because I'm making purple worm poison.
Oh. And that is not dangerous?
I mean, I've made lots of purple worm poison.
Oh. A great deal has happened since I left home. Well, I'm glad you have a hobby.
Oh, it's very useful.
Hmm.
I also made a bunch of dynamite yesterday, and I took a shower, though. I should still smell from that. I mean, I like, bathed.
No, I know you bathed. It's just potent. Gonna have to scrub a few more times. I see. Well, I guess since the current business is making things dead, that's a good hobby to have.
I'm very excited.
And this isn't, a holdover from past trauma?
I mean, I know a lot about poison because of the past. But no, I've been using purple worm poison for a while to dispatch baddies.
Very good. I just want to know that it's what you want and not what Dad wanted for you.
Yes, I've taken what he made me, and I used it for good. At least that's what I've tried.
I'm not fully certain I follow the logic, but I am glad that you are finding your own path. Was there something that he gestures to you and Raiken, needed?
No, at least not for me. I was just here to try to figure out the case situation as well with Yukikaze.
Oh. Well, I gave all the information I have to the General. I am sorry that I don't know more about it, but the soldiers from Arcosia who traveled with former General Tatsuya had very limited interaction with this army. They were already quite regimented and seemed to have their own job that they were focusing on in service of the General.
I see. Well, we appreciate even this little bit of information that you've given us.
With the teleportation spells, he could be anywhere, but wherever he is, I'm certain that he is still serving former General Tatsuya, so I would keep that in mind.
We will do so.
If I may ask, why do you find it important to find this man?
I was given some information from my brother.
You're in contact with the former general?
No, an old piece of writing.
Oh. He's going to lower his voice and say, good, because that could be dangerous to talk about.
Nope, no contact at all. Do. So don't you worry. No. Just the name came up in writing, and so that's why we wanted to figure out what his involvement was.
Well, if I had to guess, it would have been either fetching supplies or information, or setting up a deal ahead of the army arriving somewhere. Something to do with magic and probably to do with teleportation. That's all I ever saw him do, though again, I only saw him a handful of times.
Thank you, Thandros.
Lieutenant General? Lieutenant General, little brother? He says, looking up into the Dragonborn's face.
That's a little anymore.
It doesn't matter how tall you get. You're always my little brother. Well then, if I find any information, as I told the General, I shall share it with you. But given the way in which former General departed, and the abrupt manner in which his command was replaced by Bahamut, there are some misgivings around camp, so it's best, I think, that you avoid bringing them up. At least until you've solidified your leadership here, which really won't happen until you begin to move the army.
Agreed.
Well, if there's not else I can help you with at this moment, I will go join the General and get these soldiers into shape for this mission. Join us as your time allows, Lieutenants General.
Will do. At ease. Carry on.
He'll snap a salute, and as you say, at ease, he'll return to parade rest, and then turn on his heel and march off to follow Yukikaze. So, That's the information that is here about Keisuke. Is that all you're going to seek out and return to Jebel, or is there further you'd like to interrogate things somehow?
At this point in time, I'm going to not pursue for the time being and go and try to find Jebel to take care of the Bruinor stuff.
Alright, you head back to the inn. Vendar is going to head into the magnificent mansion to begin working on his stuff. These new bits of poison. These guys... stop it. All of these guys, actually. These guys are going to go off to help train the army. Boop. Leah's out there, Yuki's out there, the Simulacra are out there, and Saltharis is out there. Vendar's in the mansion. You're going to join Jebel. Laramendus.
Laramendus was intending to go and talk to Ruby about the wall and the fabricate as necessary, and then go and cast the spell for the to start going through the notes.
Okay. You will be doing that, and these two. You're going to transit via plants to Raiken.
Well, it sounds like.
Yep.
Nice. I like it. Alright, so you head outside, you find yourself a tree, and you open a portal in that tree. You step through and you feel as the roots wrap around you and part around you as you push through, as you feel like this. It's the roughness of bark, but the soft smoothness of gelatin as you are pushing through the inside of this tree and you're popped out the other side. And let me think here for a second. You'd be traveling forward in time? No? Raiken. Thanandir. Yes, you would be traveling forward in time because you're heading east. Let me quickly look at my map. I have to think about this for a quick second. It's pretty far over in Thanandir, heading down Shirkawa. That was dish hours between there and there. 3, 5. Let's say you go ahead 6 hours. So it goes from being roughly 8 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon.
Alrighty.
So the sun is high overhead. It's late spring, very late spring now into summer. So it's going to be quite warm. You're in a temperate zone. So you've gone from a tropical zone to a temperate zone. So immediately the sound of gulls fades away. And you are instead surrounded with the creaking and groaning of trees rustling in a gentle breeze, the chittering and calls of forest animals, squirrels, deer, foxes, and you can hear the voices of humanoids not far off over the gentle babbling of a river. You turn and you can see the siding of familiar buildings for actually both of you. It's been a long time since you've been here, and you can smell that telltale aroma, that sweet sappiness of the syrup that this place produces. Famously. And you begin heading toward the buildings here to see what you can see. And I'm going to call it there, because that's 10:31. And I think I'll try and put together a map, a quick little map of something for next time. If not, Theater of the Mind, but I still have little sketches about how Braithen was laid out. It's so cool that we get to go back to all these places from before the recordings began.
Yeah. I am very glad for the amount of magic that we can throw around, because both letting us teleport to places that we haven't been to in ages. It's good to see them again.
So lucky that is where Jebel joined you, so you can utilize this transit via plans. Such a good spell. Okay.
We cast Gate to pull Delilah to just get to Braithen.
Just terrible. To use her as a focus to get back there?
It would be hilarious. It would be so awful to just do that. Like, oh yeah, I know that this person's in this town. Yoink.
Alright, I'm now going to cast a spell and use you to get back to your home. Shh, quiet. You're my focus right now. Goodness gracious. Alright. No experience. Everybody's level 20. We did a 1 to 20 campaign. Alright. Hopefully, we'll have more of the party together for next time. Stemmies was here, and next time we will learn if Jebel and Raiken can find and reassemble Bruenor, and maybe give him another chance at life.
Woo!
Woo! Alright, good job, everybody. I hope everybody had a good time. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye,
Goodbye.
stream.